are here, aka Pure Freakout 10, for another episode of the Movie Review Show, where the good movies are always reviewed. Okay, I'm back again doing a movie review today. And we're continuing to bring more scares to you guys with Screamfeast! Whoa! Okay, now on today's episode, we're going to take a look at a monster film because why not? I can't go through Halloween without at least talking about one monster film. And I have another one I plan to talk about later that's one of my all-time favorite horror films. But not only is this a monster film, this is actually a film that introduced me to the world of Stephen King, because this is based on one of his short stories. And this is honestly one of the few films that introduced me to Stephen King. This, It, Pet Sematary, and The Shining, as well as Carrie, are the films that really introduced me to Stephen King's world. It really gave me a viewpoint on Stephen King, on how he writes his books, his movies, and also how they are represented on screen. Well, I shouldn't say how he writes his film, because some of them he has involvement in and some he doesn't. But this is one of the few that really broadened me into the world of Stephen King and how he brings, and how, just his movies, I should say, as well as his books. But what film is that, you may ask? Which one is the one that actually is a monster movie? Can you take a guess? Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. Now, Stephen King's Graveyard Shift was a film made back in 1990, and this is directed by Ralph S. Singleton, who, from what I can gather, never directed again. Wow. But out of all the Stephen King's films that have been made, this one seems to be the most hated. This is the one that everybody seems to attack. Everybody gives it the shaft. Everybody says it's his worst. In fact, I even think Stephen King himself disowns the film, because if you guys read Carrie, in the beginning of the book, he talks about himself, and he mentions this as the worst of the adaptions of his books. And I gotta say, I remember when I first saw this film, I was in high school. I got this as a birthday gift. And I always remember that cover on one of them. One of the covers that this film had, because right before I actually bought the film, I begged my mom and dad to try and rent me this. But they wouldn't do it, because you guys know back then, my parents were very strict on the R rating and whatnot. But I could only live off what I saw from the trailer and looked awesome, and what I saw at Blockbuster. But I always remember this cover of the disc, like, I don't want to take it out, but the disc, like, it had this same picture right here of this skull, and on the, like, around it, it had, like the light cap, or whatever it was called, and it had blood on it. I always thought that cover looked awesome. I don't know why they don't make it for this DVD anymore, but, yeah. You can get the poster of it, which I might do in the future. But I saw this for the first time on my birthday, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I love this movie. I gotta say, this is one of my all-time favorite monster films. It's one of my all-time favorite creature feature films. I think it's one of my all-time favorite, just all around, I think it's a great film. I don't think the film is as bad as everybody makes it out to be. I think some of the critiques that this film got, I think were a little bit too unfair, and I think they were really expecting something more. But really enough, if you read the book, like it's not easy to do that into a film, because the book is a short story, and if you're going to do that, this movie would be like a 50-minute film. So, yeah, or 10-second or 10-minute film, which that'd be a long film, and it would be a waste of money. But I don't understand the hate this film gets. Why the hell does this film get so much hate, yet there are fans of Killjoy, which is a piece of trash monster film, even though that has a lower score, but this gets this hate. This is considered one of the worst. Why? Why? It just boggles my mind. Because, I'll get into why later. I think this is a unique, but I'll just say it right now. I know I'm running all over the place, but I think this is a uniquely made horror film that really absolutely stands on its own 2 feet and really has fun with itself. I gotta say that. It really has a lot of fun with itself. And I think, like, if you're reading the story of it, you're probably thinking, like, you're going to get something big and grand, and you're going into it with, like, oh, this is going to be great. I think you're thinking a little too hard on it. And Stephen King himself, I don't know what his problem is with this film. This film is nowhere near as bad as he made it out to be. I think he just blew the movie out of proportion and just really just thought of it as like something that would be similar to his work, and I disagree with him fully. I don't think this is his worst film. I really don't think this is his worst film. Like, and also, I've seen so much worse monster films than this. I really have. This doesn't even qualify that level. In fact, some of these, I'm looking on Rotten Tomatoes, some of these reviewers don't even have sites that you can go into and read the review fully and understand why they hate them. In fact, I think OCP Communications brought that up in another review and said it too, and I agree. You can't go into much of the people's sites to see these reviews. I don't understand why. There's another user on here that said it. But I'm glad there are people who like this film. And I honestly thought I was alone in the crowd who said I like this film. Then I met Rambo Raft for Life. But, I also met OCP Communications. They both share the same love for this film. I like this film as well. I'm actually kind of glad this film has a following. But I'll get into why I really like this film later. Anyway, the film stars David Andrews, who I don't seem to know anything about. A lot of these actors are very run-of-the-mill actors that really didn't get much. But, yeah, Kelly Wolf as well, Stephen Mott. You also have Andrew Divoff in this film. And for those who don't know, Andrew Divoff would later go and play the Wishmaster in the first two, which is another favorite horror film of mine. You have probably one of the highlights of the film, Brad Dourif, who, of course, was the Gemini Killer in Exorcist 3. And he was also Chucky, of course, in all the Chucky movies. But, again, I really like this film. I really, really like this film. And I don't see why this gets such a low score from people. I don't see why this film gets the shaft. And it's not that bad. I'm just baffled by the reception. What is there that's so bad about this movie? I'm like sitting there thinking like this, because I watched this film twice. I stopped at one point because I think like I stopped at like one point in the film because I wanted to do this video and I thought I was wasting time because I have a lot of other films I want to get to, like these two. I already reviewed this one, but I'm not rewatching it again. But I don't get it. That's the main thing that baffles me. Like, people say this is a bad film, but it's also so bad it's good. No. This is a movie that really has care in the environment. It really it cares for all of what it's putting on the plate. And it's really delivered with passion and subtlety. And it pays a good homage to a lot of monster movies that I love. I don't see how this film is as bad as these critics made it out to be, and I also don't see why Stephen King needs to make such a big fuss about this film. And I'll get into why I love this film later. The basic plot of the film is basically this. We learn that this textile mill was opened after a long time, and basically you have the mill foreman, played by Stephen Mott, named Warwick, who is basically a jerk to everybody. He pushes everybody around. He's really disrespectful towards the women in the place. And as that's going on, murders are occurring in the mill, and each because each person that comes in, like, they're working in the basement trying to clear out this rat because they're having like rat problems in the film, and basically they're all getting killed one by one in weird ways, and the rats are like feasting on them as they're done with. And that was confirmed in the first second of the film, where you see a guy who basically is working in the thing, and these rats are coming up to him, like looking at him and staring him down. And I love this guy's reaction to it. Like, hello, boys and girls. Did we remember to do our homework assignments? No? Well then. we know what happens to boys and girls who forget their homework, and he puts one of them in the picker, and like then the more rats are staring him down, and basically he's like, okay, class is over. You hear me? Class is over. And that scene I thought was great. I love that scene. But he gets, somehow something comes down and pushes him into the machine, and he comes out like a, well, I shouldn't say he comes out like a mess. He comes out mutilated, because, like, yeah. But anyway, we're introduced to our main character, played by David Andrews, who's a drifter, and he comes to the town looking for a job, and you have Andrew Divoff as one of the workers. You have a few other people as well. You have this fat guy there. You have Kelly Wolf as this potential love interest. You have Brad Dourif as the exterminator, who's in there. He's a riot in this film. Brad Dourif is a riot. And basically, he's trying to get used to his job. Everybody starts picking on him for some reason. And then, like, it's getting closer and closer to the 4th of July, and Warwick has the idea that basically they should all clean out the basement to earn some extra cash, which is what they call the graveyard shift. And it's like a night shift that, which is where a lot of other people are dying, because all these murders are occurring in the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m., which is the graveyard shift time. And so basically, as they're cleaning, they find this tunnel that leads into the basement. They find out there's like this huge monster down there that's like killing all of them off, and pretty much now they're all going to have to work together and find a way to actually stop this monster. And from then on, you have Warwick, who's basically going nuts and really just acting crazy, and really just trying to basically do things his own way, but of course that's not working. And all the while you have Brad Dourif as the exterminator, who has this quick side plot where he's trying to get all the rats. And so basically all boils down to this one big mission where everybody's on a fight for survival. Will they be able to survive, or will they be the next meal on the menu for Rat Chow? Stephen King's Graveyard Shift is a unique film because I really love how it really puts like this really monster movie love into this film. It's a really uniquely made film, and I really love that about the film. I feel Ralph S. Singleton did a great job making the film, and I really love the idea of them all being in this basement, and like you have this huge monster and whatnot, and I like the fact that a lot of them are pretty much turning against each other. Everybody's fighting for themselves, and maybe a lot of people don't want to be involved in this situation, but I like the idea of that unfolding, and it starts to get worse and worse, and Warwick starts going crazier and crazier, and you really see insanity in him go along the way, and it was just a cool idea, and I really love that about the film. I thought it was executed really, really well. And I also really love the mill itself. Ralph S. Singleton really doesn't go out of his way to build like this whole this really flashy kind of colorful set and make it creepy by just throwing stuff. He really makes this gloomy basement and doesn't make it colorful at all, and really just goes along with the darkness and really uses it as a way to basically build suspense. It really doesn't care how it's brought. It's really carried through really well. He really doesn't feel like it's trying. He really just is going along with this whole tactic of making the area dark and really just making this grim and kind of disgusting environment to explore in that is really well done. I really love the environment. I thought he did a great job shooting the film. I like the opening credits along with that scene in the graveyard with that score, which I agree with a lot of people. I really wish the score got its own CD. So, yeah, I really love the direction. The monster itself is really unique, and I like how the rats play a key part in the film. I thought that was executed really well. I like the fact that they're like the minions of the monster. I just like how they play a key part in it as well. So yeah. And also, people complain about the decisions that people make, that it's cliched. I'm sorry. This is my type of monster film. This is my type of monster film. And you're going to have cliches in horror films. You're going to have cliches all around. There are a lot of horror films that emphasize those cliches. And there are some that a lot of people enjoy that carry those cliches. I don't see how that's such a problem. So yeah, I really love this. I really love the story. I like the setting. The camera work is also really well done. The scares are there. The acting is really good. David Andrews, I thought, did a good job. He's more of the quiet type in this film because you really don't see him talking much in the beginning of the film until they actually get into the action. So overall, I really felt he did a good job. He really doesn't depend on anybody else to do his work, and he was really likable at times. I really love the scene with him and Brad Dourif, who is another fantastic actor in the film. Brad Dourif, I thought, was a riot to watch. His character is just so hilarious. Like, him and Brad Dourif and David Andrews are talking, and basically he's like, this place is infested, and he's like, that might be an understatement. And Brad Dourif's like talking to him about it, and he's like, you know what VR rats are? And he's like, try raw, American, hold the mayo, thank God. Like, that scene had me rolling with laughter. Brad Dourif was a riot in this film. I like the scenes with him and the dog, the scene where he's like trying to get the rats, like pulling them out with that huge thing, like with that machine and whatnot. It's like, adios, mother. Like, Brad Dourif was hilarious. There is some that I don't like about the film with his character, but David Andrews, I thought, was likable. He really becomes stronger at the end, even though he already is strong, and he's more quiet at the beginning, but I like the fact that he's slowly getting into his environment, and that really works with the film. I really like how they build him into this environment, and they move his character forward and whatnot. So, yeah, really like him. Kelly Wolf I also like as the sort of love interest. And she was fine. She does spend half the time screaming, but it's in a situation where she has the right to scream. She has every right to scream. She saw a dead body and whatnot. But Stephen Mott I also like in the film. He's the main bad guy, Warwick, and he's also another bad guy that you love to hate, and he goes across the film acting like a jerk to everybody around him and not caring about the consequences of his actions. And that one scene where that one guy's making fun of him, and he's like, "Bravo! With all that, we can get you on Star Search." And also, you ever run the pickup? You ever run the pickup? Like, he gives this voice that really, I thought, fit him well, like an Irish accent. And yeah, he does look a little bit like Fred Ward, someone else said. But one complaint that people seem to have about the film with all the actors is that they feel cliched. And I disagree. I think they were really just kind of... they're really nothing special. They're really just kind of people who are in the workplace and just hate their job. And they get into the situation mistakenly. And I really like that. I like the fact that they're not stereotypical like the black guy, which there is a black guy, but he's really... Really like that whole thing with him. I thought that they're not really like the stereotypical like black guy and whatnot. Granted, he does have a few lines, and they didn't bother me, and his character didn't bother me. I thought he had his moments. I like that one fat guy who's like with the fire hose and whatnot, and he has like a cool death. And that's another thing about this film too. This film is bloody as hell. There's some really nasty parts in this film. Like, one guy gets his hand bitten off. One guy, because the creature's like this huge, like rat-like monster with like bat wings, like a little bit like Man-Bat from Batman. For those who haven't read Batman, Man-Bat, which I'm not a big Batman fan, but I know the characters and whatnot, but like a little bit like Man-Bat, and like he's like what he does is like one scene, like he has this like wing that he puts over people, and as they're like their faces are like coming out of it and whatnot, he puts like this thing here, like this sort of like a scorpion tail. I don't know what it is, but he pushes people into that thing, and I thought that was a really cool scene. And the scenes with the rats are also really well done. That's another thing too. This film has really great effects, great practicality, great design of the creature. The blood is there, practical blood squibs and whatnot, and just it really works for the film. I feel it really, really, really works. I really feel the film has a lot of gore in it. It's really fun to watch, and there's definitely some cool gore effects, like the one scene with the guy getting his hand bitten off, and it's just awesome. Really great creature, too. I really wish that if they ever do a sequel, I wish they would do the same thing with this film. I really think they would do it like this. And I don't think Ralph Singleton deserved to never direct again. I think he could have given a sequel to this. I mean, Pet Sematary 2 was a great sequel, but people disown that. But I like it. I think this deserved a sequel much more than Pet Sematary. If there was anyone that could have got a sequel, why not Graveyard Shift? Never know why. But again, I really, really love this film, and I think it really is a well-made film. Now, I do have a couple problems with it. For one thing, Brad Dourif gets killed, but in a stupid way. It's not even by the creature, but I'm not going to spoil it and tell you what it is, because it's a dumb way, and I really wish that he was one of the survivors. I thought that would have been really cool. And I also feel that at times, in some of the scenes, they feel really slow. They go by at like a slow pace at times, when they're really not needed. And it just some of the scenes in those parts just really didn't feel necessary. But I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. And overall, Stephen King's Graveyard Shift to me is an underrated gem, and I think this film deserved more than what it got. And I even think this deserves a better DVD, because there is nothing on this DVD. Just again, showing you that disc again. There is nothing on this DVD. I think this should get a special edition or something. Special edition DVD, or even like re-release the VHS and do like a behind the scenes afterwards or something, because this doesn't get a special edition, yet a lot of movies that people hate get director's cuts or special edition. That baffles me. Why not this? Can't this get a special edition? No. Because I don't know, but overall, Stephen King's Graveyard Shift is a fantastic movie. It's definitely a film that is definitely great to watch around Halloween, and if you like any of Stephen King's other films, you're really going to like this film. Just give it a chance. If you don't like it, that's fine. That's fine. Me, personally, I really enjoyed this film, and I'm really glad that this was one of my introductions to Stephen King. So, overall, I give Stephen King's Graveyard Shift an 8.5 out of 10. It deserves it, and therefore gets my seal of approval. So, if you're looking for a great, gory monster flick, definitely pick this up. Or if you don't like it, definitely check out Jeepers Creepers, which is one of my all-time favorite horror films. I definitely say I like it just a tiny bit better than this, but I still love this movie. But definitely check this out. But that's my review for Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. And next time, you guys know a couple of Halloweens ago I did a review of this film. Well, gotta continue from here. Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. I'm gonna get to that film next. And then we have Arachnophobia after that. So, yeah. I'll see you guys later. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. And be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to thumbs up this video to bring more scares, or we're coming to your house with surprises. I'll see you guys next time.